Not moving. Because one thing I watched about him, sometimes he'll get lazy with his feet because his upper body is so massively strong.
Let's take a look at Will Grier here as he takes some snaps behind center, under center, and there's the defensive line again, just very strong up front and doing a really nice job. But let's talk about Will Grier. Is this more of a quarterback competition, Rob, than maybe we anticipated heading into training camp?
Yeah, Mike McCarthy was asked that today. I don't know if he gave a direct answer to it, because they have a lot of confidence in Cooper Rush. Obviously went and won a game for him at Minnesota last year. But, hey, Will Grier is getting splitting second-team reps for a reason. They like him. He was claimed off waivers last September, spent the season trying to get familiar with the system. Isaiah, you know about that, going to a different team, and that's a process. But he was a third-round draft pick a few years ago for a reason. And you see the command out here. He's got command. He was always an accurate quarterback coming out of college, and you can see that here. He's putting some balls right where only the receiver can get it. And this is healthy. There's no problem with having a couple guys competing for that number 2 job.
No, I totally agree with that. I think it's important that you have competition behind QB1. But, Mike Davis is doing a great job out here taking some of these rips with Rico Dowdle being out.
Malik Davis.
Oh, sorry, Malik Davis. Is doing a great job getting some reps here with Rico Dowdle out. But I do have some concerns, you guys. I have some concerns.
What's your concern?
Yeah, this offense likes to run the ball out of a 2 tight end set. Right? Would you agree to that?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
To run it, but I'm looking at 2 tight ends in Jeremy Sprinkle, and Jake Ferguson, this year's draft pick they're sitting back here where we can see their backs of their numbers. They're not in practice right now. How important is it for –
Oh, wow. What a snag on the sideline. Big hit in the final part of that practice. Noah Brown went up, elevated to get that ball, and brought it back down. Sorry to cut you off there, Isaiah. That was a phenomenal play over the top of a defender at the same time.
No, that was a heck of a play by that man. And running a play-action drill here. But again, I'm concerned because Jake Ferguson – there was a lot of question marks in regards to his role the reason why they drafted him, right, Rob?
Yeah.
And I know for the Cowboys Nation, they expect him to come in and be that extra guy in the hip pocket of Schultz that's going to help in the run game, right? Be that blocking tight end in the passing game. All of a sudden, he's missing these first couple weeks of camp. How is that going to affect this team's development on that side of the ball?
That's a great question because there's, like I mentioned at the top, there's only so many practices that he's going to get in pads to adjust to that physicality and then the preseason games. And we'll see what his status is going forward. It sounded like maybe next week he could be back when they go to Denver for some practices in the game. But, yeah, I mean, you can't replicate that stuff. And then once you get into the regular season, they're going to scale back some of that. So for a young guy, this is so, so valuable. And you're right. They need that improvement in space, blocking in the run game at that tight end position at the point of attack.
Because if we're going to take advantage of who Tony is, Pollard, we need tight ends. You don't have to be a great blocker, but if you can just hold for a split second or a second or two, we can get this guy outside and we can really get the value out of Tony Pollard. We need for Jake Ferguson to be that player he was at Wisconsin. He got to get himself healthy, so availability is the best deal here for him. He needs to suck it up and let's go.
Ooh. First team back out there is you've got a couple guys working, a little read option. Now Dak's taking it himself. I like the sight of a read option there, Isaiah. You know how bad, on Talking Cowboys, we talk about it all the time.
I like the sight of number 4 running the
ball
field.
And with some confidence, too.
He's been so hesitant to do so, and then coming back off of the ankle injury, they didn't want him getting out the pocket for any reason.
Sure.
They much rather him throw the ball in the ground. So it's very encouraging to see his confidence level going into this season and his willingness to go past the line of scrimmage.
That first down, it hurt him a lot last year when it was 2 to 3 yards to be made, and he didn't do that. He threw the ball, mid-range, and we missed a lot of those. That third down percentage just goes up like you wouldn't believe when he runs the ball instinctively.
You're so right, Nate, and also the red zone. He has been such a weapon in the red zone, working that read option with Zeke or Pollard, just that threat inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5. That is huge for this offense to have that versatility.
Dak having a nice play on the opposite side with running the football, but then he turns around. Trayvon Diggs has made a couple plays here over these last couple of reps. Had one down the field where he almost had an interception. He had another one where he batted down the football. A couple different things to look at whenever it comes to cornerback one.
Just when you have a young guy like Houston come in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yep. He's like, you know what, let me pick up my game. You know what? These young guys trying to make a name. I'm serious. As a veteran, you see a young guy, you don't take him, you take him for granted.
Sure.
But all of a sudden, a couple of quick moves, and he got that ball in his hand. You're like, let me turn it up. Let me be people know me to be.
And why is that? Why is that something that's offensive as a defensive back? Cornerbacks, I don't know for people out there, cornerbacks are very prideful.
Yes, they are.
Very prideful. They don't want anybody talking mess about them. They feel as if nobody can make a completion. So when Dak Prescott goes back-to-back to the doggone rookie and he gets 2 completions on you, you're going to feel some type of way about it.
Yes, you are.
And he's trying to take advantage against some of the other guys on the roster as well. Here you go again, working to the left side of the field. There you see some C.D. Lamb shiftiness. Goodness gracious, he is tough to bring down. He's as slippery as they come, and you see a great look at it there, Rob.
That's some yak right there. He's one of the best. It's the yards after catch. He is one of the best in the league at doing that. And if you see more Tony Pollard this year in kind of the same role, that's where you can create some of these chunk plays. I mean, the offense in the NFL is based off of chunk plays, explosive plays that get your offense in the scoring position. They've got to do more of that next season.
Creator. We have a few creators on this team, brother, and I love it to death.
Who do you think's the biggest creator on this team, Nate?
I don't know. They need to go to T.J. Vasher just to make sure he's one of those creators.
Little 5-wide look here for Dak Prescott. Again, the defensive line giving fits right back behind. He finds Tony Pollard, but that might have been a moot point, honestly, because that defensive line collapsed that pocket significantly early on.
And that has been our issue since the first day they put on pass. Our defensive line has just been blowing holes through our offensive line, and out of 20 plays, our offensive line as a whole may block 9 of them correctly. But other than that, the other 10 or 15, the guys are just leaking in. They just got to clean up the leakage, and give the quarterback a chance to get the ball, or give the running back a chance to make some positive yardage. And that just happened with Coach Quinn and his defense in his second year, and everybody's on the same page.
One thing that might be looked over, Rob P., is the ability, especially with the signing of Anthony Barr, how that affects Micah Parsons. That allows Micah Parsons to take himself from the defensive end position, go back to the linebacker position. When you have a secondary that's creating turnovers the way in which the Dallas Cowboys did last year, all of a sudden receivers aren't open. So when receivers aren't open, you have to go down as a quarterback to your checkdowns. Mm-hmm. Well, when your checkdowns are typically your running backs or linebackers at underneath 5 yards. And you have opportunity for Micah Parsons now to be at that second level, being there waiting for those guys to come into his arms.
Absolutely.
With the twos in really quickly, Rob, with the twos in, you just saw that same sort of deal, but it was Malik Jefferson coming over from the second level. Really nice play from Jefferson before you continue.
Yeah, that's what they're building on this defense with Dan Quinn is versatility. They've got guys who can rush, guys who can line up with their hand in the ground, play in space, like you said, with Anthony Barr, Micah Parsons, move them all over the field. Young defensive linemen who can play everywhere, whether it's Chauncey Golston, whether it's Sam Williams maybe moving inside on occasion. Even DeMarcus Lawrence was playing tackle last year. So they're creating, it's not positionless, but it's a lot of versatility on this defensive front.
That was Sam Williams that got in there that time. Fantastic play. I mean, the Ole Miss rookie, he brings a lot of excitement as well, coming off the edge that time.
I tell you what, man, Leon Lett love him. And, what they're working on, they say we're going to limit a lot of his asking him to be deep into the playbook. They just want him to do like 4 or 5 things great, and that's mainly get after the pass on third down and nickel situations. So they're trying to keep it simple for him early here in camp, and they'll let him grow as the season go on because he's a great athlete, and they say and he got good hips. When I saw him on film, he had great hips. But Cat said they're working on that, even getting his hips even more flexible.
Rob, when you think of, you've been around for a minute and you've seen a lot of guys come in and out this system. Sam Williams, who does he remind you of?
Oh my gosh! You know what? I'm not saying he's Micah Parsons, but I'm trying to think of a recent guy.
They're comparable.
Their combine numbers, Kyle, and Isaiah were very, very similar in terms of his speed, his ability to explode and bend. And he's not going to play off the ball linebacker, but he's a guy that at that edge position, the ability to get that first step and get around the corner, it could be special. And I don't know if he's going to be a starter right off the bat. They've got some other options, Dorrance Armstrong, but he's going to factor into this mix. And I think it's because of that versatility and maybe bump him inside in certain situations too. If Dan Quinn says, okay, I want to get my best 4 pass rushers on the field, he can do that too.
Yeah, you talk about Sam Williams' numbers at the combine. I mean, you talk about 6'3.5", 260 pounds, but he ran a 4.46, a 1.52 split. He had a 32-inch vertical. And then you look at Micah Parsons and what he brought to the table in terms of the combine: 6'3", 250 pounds, 4.36 with a 1.59 split and a 34-inch vertical. It's almost, Parsons had better numbers. He was a little bit quicker, but in terms of a guy coming from the second level playing in the front seven, there's not a whole lot of guys in the NFL that can do all of those things the same way that Micah Parsons and Sam Williams could do.
Not at all. Those guys are physical specimens. You talk about Micah Parsons, 6'3", 250, running a 4.36. That was
a large man
as a receiver, Nate.
Crazy.
And that's insanity. That is insane.
That's Rob Phillips' speed.
Yeah, that's insane.
I think I probably ran that when I was 12.
I'm sure you did.
I'm sure you did.
Give or take a couple seconds. Yeah,
Nate just barreling down at 12 years old.
20-yard dash.
Rob P., you were talking about, like the third down situations and the ability for these guys, the versatility that Dan Quinn has at his disposal to create a rush. Yesterday at practice, we saw 4 down linemen, all right, in a third down situation. It was Micah Parsons on the outside, Dante Fowler on the outside.
Ooh, the defensive line. My goodness. Sorry. Dorrance Armstrong got in there on Cooper Rush.
And Dorrance Armstrong.
There's your other guy.
Those were the 4 right there.
Go.
It was D-Law and Dorrance on the inside, Micah Parsons and Fowler on the outside. You want to talk about 4 guys that can get after it. And guess what? If they just happen to get a little tired, all of a sudden you go to the bench and grab guys from there too.
Yeah, it's who do you block? It's creating matchups. And honestly, when Randy Gregory was here, we didn't see enough of it, because guys were banged up. But when Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons were all together, that was a matchup nightmare for defenses. And so they're going to try to replicate Gregory's production with a bunch of different guys. But like you said, they've got still guys, Sam Williams stepping in here as a second-round pick, that can create matchup problems too.
And the thing about it, man, Parsons will always be more effective coming up the middle, because the guys that they have on the outside will be guaranteed one-on-one blocks. And that's why I tell people, don't be so quick to just put him at defensive end when you can put him in the middle of the field and give other guys a chance to get after the quarterback.
Looks like Zeke getting to the edge there. Look at these running backs getting a couple of looks. You saw Malik Davis, Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, all of which having pretty good reps. And we're not even in the run and play action emphasis anymore. We're in first, second, third down rotations. This is where you really get to see the guys move down the field and consistent